is okay at the back? We're good. We're good. Okay. So welcome to day 2 of the Mars Society Convention in Pasadena, California. Of course, lots going on. I can see some blurry eyes here. You've been partying too much. We'll have more with you later. But to wake you up and to get the day started in style, we've got George Whitesides. He is the president and CEO of a very, very cool company. You may have heard of it, Virgin Galactic. They're aiming to send the first space tourists on a suborbital flight next year in 2013. And I think, how many have you got booked so far? Over 500? 538 people have paid tickets. And this is probably the guy that you need to buy a drink to get discounted flights. So I'll hand over to George right now, and he's going to do a presentation on touring space with Virgin Galactic.
Thanks very much. Yeah, I'm very happy to announce that we'll be giving a special discount for everyone here, $5 off for everyone. It's very rare that you can get that. Anyway, thanks so much. Nice to be here. I always say that I owe a debt of gratitude to the Mars Society and to Bob, because my first real exposure to the space advocacy community was through the Mars Society, the founding conference of the Mars Society that I went to as a young guy working really in my first job at Orbital Sciences Corporation, and I came and I talked about why Gen X, which I think nobody even uses that phrase anymore, but should go to Mars and still feel that way. And we're making some progress, so that's good. Anyway, it's great to see everybody here today. I don't live far away. I live down in the Arroyo of Pasadena, which is about a 10-minute drive away. So it's very convenient to have the entire, from what I can tell, the entire space community gathering in Pasadena this weekend. It should be just a fantastic thing. And I think, you know, broadly defined, this is such a huge weekend. You know, when we have a success tomorrow, that's going to be just huge. It's going to be just huge. And when I was at NASA, some of you may know I was the chief of staff at the agency for a couple of years. You know, I really tried to push the idea of participatory exploration. You know, the idea that sort of virtual exploration, or the rest of us getting us all involved. And I think probably the rover that we're going to land tomorrow night is the best suited robotic exploration platform for participatory exploration than we've ever had. And that's really exciting, because it means that not just those of us who care deeply about space exploration, but those of us who maybe just sort of think it's cool, or even those who don't even pay that much attention to space, will be captured by the amazing imagery and video and all that stuff. It's just going to be huge for space exploration in general. And so I love these Mars landings, because the attention of the entire world focuses on space, and specifically Mars, for a few days. Yeah, so it's going to be an incredible thing, and it's going to be great to go through it with all of you. The entire space community will be here. But anyway, I'm not actually going to talk about Mars. You're going to have lots of people talk about Mars this weekend. I'm a diehard Mars fan, so I'm definitely there. But I have been pursuing with a fantastic group of people a different project, which is basically to take the rest of you into space. And that's also important. I think it's actually very important. You know, there's sort of two broad schools of thought in the space community about how we can best explore the cosmos. And I think one is sort of, we got to build really big vehicles and go out there. And I think that's probably true to a certain extent. We will need big vehicles to go to do human exploration of other planets. But at the same time, I think to break out of the Apollo sort of paradigm, we need to have lower launch costs. And I think that the work that we're doing in suborbital spaceflight, I truly believe that that is the pathway to lower recurring launch costs, which I think is the pathway, maybe not for the first human to go to space, but it's the pathway for the rest of us to go to Mars. And I think that that's a crucial point. I've talked about it in the past, but I think without that sort of huge drive towards reusability, then these missions are going to keep costing, you know, tens of billions of dollars or hundreds of billions of dollars. And so we really need to drive that cost down, and that's what will enable settlement over time, is when you can get a ticket to Mars for $1 million or $10 million or something like that. And I really do believe that it's going to be the sort of the virtuous cycle of people flying on suborbital vehicles, which develops technology and drives the cost down further so that more people can afford it, so that there's better technology, and that virtuous cycle that will over time drive the cost down. I think that's really our best shot at that. But anyway, so those are just some introductory comments linking Mars and suborbital. What I wanted to do was just start off. I've got 3 videos in here, and so I'll shoot through it, and a lot of other stuff to talk about, and I'd love to do 3 minutes of questions at the end. So this is just a short video at the front to get you in the mood that shows you some of the Okay, so that's just some pictures to get you in the mood of Galactic. Yeah, so, am I working it right? Yeah, so this is space. This is what it's all about for me, getting out there, being inspired by it as a kid, 2-year-old. I now have a 2-year-old, and I'm doing my best to sort of brainwash him into being the next generation of space explorer. But this is what it's all about, is getting out there. And what's so exciting about this moment in time is that we're living through a moment where the rest of us will have an opportunity to go into space, really. And and hopefully we'll get started next year, and then over time drive that cost down so that more and more people will be able to see this view, which is the view from Spaceship One, and also have this experience, which is the experience of sustained weightlessness, which this is a picture taken from the zero-gravity plane, but we'll have many more minutes of zero-G. And who's gone through zero-G so far? Anybody out there? Yeah, a few people. It's really awesome, isn't it? Did you get sick? No? Yeah. I didn't get sick. It's fantastic. It really is just an amazing experience, and I hope that many of you will have the chance to do it. Here's our vehicles. For those of you, I think probably everybody knows, but basically this is an air launch system. So we have the spaceship in the middle, which you saw dropping during one of the glide flights, and then the carrier aircraft is the twin fuselage thing that sort of wraps around it. The first vehicle we've dubbed Enterprise because we have to, and yeah. And then the other one around it is called Eve. The mothership is called Eve. Richard's mother is named Eve. Anyway, Eve. We have to do that too. So we have 3 different areas of business. We have suborbital spaceflight, which is for personal spaceflight and scientists and researchers. We also have a new business area in orbital spaceflight, which I'll talk a little bit about. And then we also have a joint venture with Scaled Composites, which is building our vehicles called the Spaceship Company. And I'm the CEO of that as well. Okay, so we've had a lot of stuff going on. I don't like text charts, but anyway, a lot of stuff going on in the development program. We recently got our FAA, or technically Scaled, got its permit for experimental test flight, powered test flight. So that was a big milestone for us. We've had a lot of progress with the propulsion system, flight test. I'll talk about both of those subjects over the course of the next few minutes. Total deposits, we now have 538. I think I asked this question, I'm sure that you guys know it, so I won't bore you. The total number of people who have been to space is either 528 or 535, depending on your definition. 528 is above 100 kilometers, and 535 is above 50 miles. Anyway, so regardless of which one, we have 538 folks now signed up, which is exciting, and we hope to fly the bulk of those within a year or two of the start of commercial operations, which is the kind of transformational shift that we're really hoping to bring to the space community. Launcher 1 is our new orbital launch vehicle, which I'll talk about a little bit more. The spaceship company, we're now building the second set of vehicles, which is exciting. I'll show you some pictures of that. And then we'll be operating out of Spaceport America in southern New Mexico. They've built a brand new $209 million facility down there, not just for us, but we'll be the anchor tenant. And that's coming along well, too. So here's something that I like better, which is pictures. Here's some pictures of recent development. We've got in the upper left corner a picture of a Sierra Nevada test of the rocket motor. Sierra Nevada is the contractor for our hybrid rocket motor system. They won a very large contract yesterday along with SpaceX and Boeing for the commercial crew competition. So congratulations to them. That's a picture on the right of a hot fire from our ground test facility, which is up in Mojave. And over here is a picture of Dave Mackay, who's a British-born, actually Welsh-born, I'm sure he wouldn't like British, test pilot. And then he became a Virgin Atlantic. So first he was in the Royal Air Force, then he was a test pilot for Harrier jets, then he became a Virgin Atlantic captain, and now he's our chief pilot. He's an amazing pilot, really soft-spoken. He recently flew Spaceship Two for the first time, and then on the right side is not super exciting visually, but it's exciting from a technical perspective. It's our new tank that we'll be using as the main oxidizer tank for the spaceship, which will be delivered shortly. So this is just an image of Spaceport America. It's a real picture. You know, we had a lot of renderings for several years, but this is it. And over the next few months, we'll be showing some really great new pictures. We just recently put the lights into Spaceport, or the New Mexico Spaceport America put the lights in. It looks really great. And we brought the vehicles down for a dedication ceremony last October, and I think it looks really fantastic. That's Richard and his two kids hanging off the side of it, because you have to have Richard do something interesting at these things, and so we hired a vertical dance troupe, so they dance on the sides of things, and they were fantastic, called Project Band Loop. And then that's just an image of, on the far right is an image from aerial. So a couple weeks ago, we were over at the Farnborough Air Show, and we unveiled something called Launcher 1. It's an orbital launch vehicle. That's a small-scale version of it. It's not going to be that size. And in front of Richard, in the lower image is a picture we brought over we built a full-scale model of Spaceship Two, and that was the center of attention at Farnborough. And then in front of that is just a whole bunch of our customers who joined up. It's a great community to be a part of, really amazing people who are part of the customer group, who are very successful, but also just have that special spark and want to be the part of the start of the launch of a new age, and they're great people. So what I have next is a short video about Launcher 1 that sort of introduces it, and so I'll play that right now. It's about 3.5 minutes, I think.
I'm delighted to say that we can announce the next step of the Galactic journey. It's a step that's been made possible by the continuing and fantastic funding support from our equity partner, Arbor. A step which will bring great long-term benefits to our existing Spaceship Two program. It will unlock new technologies, it will create new jobs, and it will help fast-track the potential of space as a powerful force of positive change. In the past year, we've established a highly experienced core team and have completed the initial design phase of a brand new launch vehicle, which is our very first orbital vehicle. A vehicle that will put small satellites into space much more efficiently, much more cheaply, and more reliably than ever before. And we've named her Launcher One. Over the last few decades, advances in technology have revolutionized the way we live, work, and play. And this also means that satellites can now be much smaller, much smarter, and much more powerful. But one big obstacle remains: the old and inefficient method used to get satellites into orbit. But all that's about to change. Say hello to Launcher One, a revolutionary launch vehicle at a revolutionary price from Virgin Galactic.
So we haven't built that yet.
With a launch cost aimed to be the lowest in the market, Launcher One is an air launch rocket from Virgin Galactic's uniquely efficient White Knight II carrier aircraft. Launcher One will build upon the design experience of the existing Spaceship Two manned space vehicle and leverage the unique manufacturing and flight testing facilities of Virgin Galactic's sister company, TSC.
All right, Steve, I've got the brakes. You can pull the chocks. Mojave Towers, get 2 on holding short at 30. Request takeoff clearance.
Runway 30, cleared for takeoff.
The pieces are all in place to transform the business of satellite launch.
4, 3, 2, 1, release, release, release. Good.
Paired with purpose-built small satellites, Launcher One will enable scientists to tackle global environmental challenges with unprecedented speed and precision. New space businesses will be able to get into operation quickly and cheaply. Nations, states, cities, and even universities and schools will be able to launch dedicated satellites that will answer their diverse needs. Opening up space to everyone will allow us to see, experience, and benefit from it in many different ways. At Virgin Galactic, we have taken the initiative, and we're making it happen. Because space is Virgin territory.
So we're really excited about this new business area. We've actually made a lot of technical progress on it. We've got a baseline design. We've got a lot of folks on staff who are building it now and are working through the components. And we really sort of think of it in an analogous way to what we're doing with personal space flight, which is to say radically lower the cost. All we've announced is it'll be under $10 million, but even that will be substantially under a lot of the different options for a dedicated launch. But we really want to break open small sat launch so that almost democratizing it, allowing far more people the chance to get their satellite up at a very affordable price. And we think there's a tremendous market for it. Let me just show you a couple other images of it. So this is just, that's the vehicle. We can launch it from all over the place. And we announced a bunch of customers. So I want to give a chance for like 5 minutes of questions, so I'm going to just run through the rest of this real quick. This is some pictures from the interior of the Spaceship Company, which is our space vehicle manufacturing company. We've got a great group of people, about 150 strong up in Mojave, California, who are hard at work building the next set of vehicles. Scaled is building the first set, and then TSC will build ongoingly additional sets, because we think the market is big enough that we'll have to sorry, yeah. So she asked, what's the 5-year marketing plan for space tourism? Is that, did I capture it? For my company, yeah. So I think, we think that we'll have, we think the market at the current price point is pretty large. We think we'll be able to sell at that level for a while, just because there's so many people who've sort of wished that they could go to space for so long. There's a big backlog of folks. Now, someday, whether through competition or just because you sort of exhaust some strata of socioeconomic, you want to start lowering the price, and we honestly look forward to that day, because I think Richard's vision over time is to bring spaceflight to more and more people. What I always say is, keep in mind that the only way to go to space right now is with the Russians, and they're charging NASA at least $65 million a seat. You could probably get it for a little bit less, like $50 million, if you went as an individual, but still not significantly different. So you're talking about a factor of 200 or 300 less for us, $200,000. That's fantastic. Now, what if we could get it to be not just 200 times less, but 2,000 times less or something? I mean, that's the kind of revolution, orders of magnitude, lowering the cost of access. Now, it's not exactly the same thing, obviously. Orbital is different from suborbital, but giving that taste for people, I think, is super important. So anyway, over time, we'll just keep marketing. We don't need to market too much. We do big events, and that's what we do. So we sort of just shed light on the project. At some point, we'll probably have to have the internet ads and different things like that, but hopefully it'll be a while before that point. Good question, thanks. Here, how about it? So the question is, are we planning to use a smaller hybrid motor for the first powered flights? No, the first motor will be the same thrust as our flight weight or suborbital motor. Question in the back there? Yeah, I mean, that's a good question, right? So I think the short answer is no, and the reason is because most of our stuff will be in very low orbits, which deorbits pretty quickly. And actually, that's one of the exciting aspects of this market. I think a lot of folks will be putting their satellites into very low orbits, so maybe 100 to 300 miles up, which deorbits pretty quickly over the course of months to years. And what's good about that is that you can do tremendous things with very small packages. So for example, if you're looking at an imaging satellite, if it's only 100 miles up, you can get tremendous resolution from a very small package because it's so close. Well, it's not in MEO or something like that. It's in very low LEO, so you can get a lot out of these packages. But the good thing from a business perspective, from our perspective, is that those things deorbit frequently, so the folks will have to refly, and our vehicle is perfect for that, because you'll be able to fill up whatever orbit you want. You don't have to wait for some big vehicle to sort of be a secondary on that. So anyway, good question. I'm just bouncing around. How about here? Yeah. Sure. It's a two-stage LOX kerosene. Oh, sorry. Question. The question was, can you talk a little bit more about the technical aspects of the Launcher One vehicle? And so it's a two-stage. Baseline is a two-stage, simple LOX kerosene vehicle. Non-reusable to start, but the Air Force is working on ideas to make first stage reusable in some of their programs, and maybe that will evolve over time into that. But at the start, we're just going to make it as cheap as we possibly can, and we're going to pursue the simplest way to cheapness, which is just very cheap stages. Now, over time, you could get to cheapness via reusability, which is, of course, the way that we're pursuing it for Spaceship Two. So maybe we'll get there at some point. Okay, sir.
How scalable is the system to take it up beyond 500 pounds with the 1,000?
You couldn't, the question was, how scalable is it to go above 500 pounds? And the answer is, you could definitely put up more. The primary constraint right now is that we have to lift it with White Knight 2, because we think that air launch is a really good advantage, because it allows you to sort of circumvent, to a certain extent, the launch range constraints that ground-based systems have. So if we wanted to build something that took off vertically, that used roughly similar components, we could, that would launch more. But I think we're going to start off with the air-launched configuration, which is sort of constrained to around 500 pounds if you do the math. Mark.
Yeah, what could we in the space movement do to help you?
Sorry, the question was, what could people in the space movement do to help us, or maybe in general this industry? Obviously, buy tickets is one thing. But beyond that, I think, I think just be supportive. It's always good to express support for these things. And in Washington, we're hard at work on export control reform. We believe that smart export control reform is necessary for U.S. national security, and can be done consistent with U.S. national security. Anyway, it gets sort of complicated, but I think there's some regulatory issues which we feed into NSS and Mars Society and other people who go to the Hill. Those are useful things. Yeah.
Following up on one of the other questions that was asking, does Virgin have a long-term plan to go to Mars? I'll take it back a step. Is there a long-term plan to get human orbital flight?
So the question is there a long-term plan to have human orbital flight? It's certainly something that Richard is very interested in. I think, honestly, what will come before that, maybe, is human close to orbital point-to-point flight. He's very interested in going between two different points on the Earth's surface very quickly. And we've been sort of stuck at Mach 0.8 for 50 years, roughly, except for the Concorde. And so I think if we can use some of these technologies to feed into point-to-point solutions that go Mach 5 to 10, that would be really great. We should have rocket planes by now, and we don't. I think that's partly because of national priorities, and we can have a debate about that. But anyway, so that's the answer. And I assume whoever the organizers are will tell me when to shut up and get off of stage. So I'm going to keep doing this for a little bit longer, and then when we get bored, I'm going to show a video. How about that?
Yeah, so an advantage of an air launch system seems to be a greater variety of potential launch latitudes and locations. Can you talk a bit about the practical and legal restrictions on where you can launch with White Knight 2?
Sure. So the question is sort of like talk about the air launch aspects of White Knight 2, of Launcher 1. So you're right. Right now, we consider ourselves constrained to the United States, but sort of any large-ish runway we can take off from. So we need about a 10,000-foot runway, roughly speaking, for this mission. And so you could see certainly any of the major spaceports in the country: KSC, Wallops, Vandenberg, Alaska, Kwajalein, obviously Spaceport New Mexico you could take off from and go to an overwater place, which is where we're sort of baselining right now. Right now, orbital launches over continental United States, I think, are not approved right now, but maybe someday. But anyway, and then maybe someday we can go abroad. Orbital Sciences did a air launch of their Pegasus vehicle from, I think, from the Azores or somewhere in the mid-Atlantic region. So it has happened, and I think that'll be exciting as well. And the basic point is, there are these huge backlogs at the Cape and various other places, and it's also very expensive to pay the launch range cost. And so if we can sort of circumvent the costs and the schedule issues, then that's a good thing for our customers. Question here.
Yes. How does regarding your Launcher 1, how does that concept differ from the Stratolaunch concept, and what do you see as your initial cost per pound?
Okay, so the question is, what's the cost per pound of Launcher 1, and how does it differ from Stratolaunch? Yeah. So Stratolaunch is a very interesting project. For those of you who don't know, it's basically an air-launched project that's being managed on the aircraft side by Scaled Composites, which is the same company that's building our vehicle set. The primary difference is that it's just super huge. I don't want to swear in front of children here, but it's really big. So what they're doing is they're sort of taking two fuselages that are sort of the size. I don't know. I have no actual insight into the design, but what I've seen in the press is that it's sort of they're taking two fuselages that are at least the size of 747s, putting a wing across it, and you're talking about being able to lift something on the order of several 100,000 pounds. So whereas our vehicle will be on the order of 25,000 pounds. So you're talking about an order of at least one order of magnitude, maybe more than that. And that'll be great. That's a big project, and that'll be very exciting. In terms of cost per pound, so you can do the math: 10 million bucks or less divided by 500. I'll let you do the math. Let's see, young people there. Yes.
What are your plans for Spaceport New Mexico? Are you planning on restricting it to your company, or would it be run more like a normal airport, except for rocket planes that happens to be owned by your
Yeah, okay, so the question is, like, what are the plans for Spaceport America and other users? And the answer is, we won't own Spaceport America. We're a tenant. We're the anchor tenant. So they are free to basically let anybody else use that. And we'd love that, frankly, because it means that our costs will go down. As the anchor tenant, they've built us basically a building that we're going to rent that we will have exclusive rights over. So that terminal building that you saw is sort of our building, or at least it will be dedicated to us. So we won't let other people into that. But, you know, I think it would be great if 10 years down the road or 20 years down the road, there's sort of a collection of rocket companies or whatever extending down the flight line, as there is now, I would say, in Mojave. I don't know if any of you either have been up there or maybe have the chance to go up there during the course of this this weekend or whatever, maybe after we have a successful Mars landing. It's a really exciting environment. It's where we're building our vehicles, but there are a bunch of other companies up there, and it feels like a real center of activity. So you should definitely get up there at some point and make the rounds. Good question. Thanks for the question. How about here?
Are you selling your small model kits of your planes?
The question is, are we selling model kits of the planes? And the answer is yes. People ask for them, so we put a little, if you go down to the bottom of our website, there's a little link to planes. You guys want to see a video? Yeah. Okay, so it's not cutting off questions. I'll keep talking until whatever. So this is, let me just give you a little bit of background. So what we did was we wanted to show, I often get out and talk on behalf of the company, but we wanted to give a little insight into the people who are every day working at Virgin Galactic, especially some of the younger people. And so what we did was we just did a little video on those people who are really fantastic. So if I can get this to work right, I will just press the button, and I think it's about a 3 or 4 minute video on the people of Virgin Galactic and the spaceship company. Nope, sorry.
I grew up close enough to Cape Canaveral that I was able to watch all of the shuttle launches from when I was a youth until I was a teenager.
Growing up, I pretty much always knew I wanted to be an engineer.
Well, I was maybe atypical. I could never decide between being an astronaut or being a veterinarian.
You know, I read about X1 and X15 and the amazing things that have happened in the skies above here in the past. And so to come out here and be doing something similar is just amazing.
My father worked in aviation. He designed wind tunnels to test airplanes in. So I used to go and tour the facilities that he would be in charge of building.
I definitely wasn't a space geek, but I'm becoming one. It's pretty infectious, this project, in terms of how exciting it is, how audacious it is, and it's hard not to be affected by the collective experience that we're having as a company.
So why don't we start with just the flow for how we do the day in terms of...
I'm Julia Tizard. I'm the deputy to the VP of Operations. That means that I'll be managing a lot of the flight and customer operations at Spaceport America. I came to Galactic straight out of my doctorate, so I have a doctorate in astrophysics, which I don't use on a daily basis, but it's what got me interested in space in the first place and how I came to work for Virgin.
I use the word fun and cool a whole lot in this job. I think it's appropriate. I joined Virgin straight from NASA. Part of my job description was to be the final go, no-go in mission control from a programmatic decision. I did that for the last 3 years of the Space Shuttle program, launched the last 12 shuttles. So everything from shuttle landing through launch, the processing of those vehicles was under my watch. One of the best things I did, I think, in my old job was to get to go put those folks in space and accomplish big things. And I will always carry that on my resume, but I think it'll be replaced by the chance to be part of the team that gets to fly more people in space than ever before.
My name is Dave McKay. I'm chief pilot for Virgin Galactic. Like many people, as a young child, I saw the Apollo moon landings and I was inspired by the adventure of that whole project. You know, I'd always really wanted to be part of some sort of manned spaceflight project. To me, it's my childhood dreams coming true, getting involved with this project.
I'm Jarrett Morton. I'm the Senior Integration Engineer for Spaceship Two rocket propulsion. The most recent program I worked on was the first test flight for the Ares 1 rocket. Afterwards, I kind of looked around and quickly realized the only people leaving the Earth to go into space were going to be riding on a Virgin Galactic spaceship. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. How do I get involved in that?
My job is to set up the 2 production facilities to build future Spaceship 2s and White Knight 2s.
When I walked into this building a little over 2 years ago, first of all, I was terrified. It was me and 6 other people in a big empty hangar, not a single thing in it. And today you can look around and see that this place is full of activity. We've got tools, fixtures, parts, real spaceship parts sitting behind me. It's night and day.
How exciting is it for somebody to come and say, hey, I want you to set up the world's first commercial spaceship factory? I feel like I won the lottery.
The other question about
The most exciting part of what we're doing right now is we're making real stuff. So we are making prototypes of seats and testing them in real time right now. My name is Adam Wells. I'm head of design at Virgin Galactic. We are literally trying to reinvent something, or we're trying to invent something that hasn't existed before. The unknowns are not easy to get your head around. We walk around every day in a 1G environment, and we take a lot for granted in that situation. I think the experience that we're planning is so different that it's a unique design environment that none of us really have huge amounts of experience in being able to sort of predict exactly how that's going to be. Well, it's incredibly exciting to be sitting in these prototype products and to imagine what it's going to be like using them in the environment. The fun thing is we get to sort of change the things that we don't like and make a better and better product. This is a huge year for the design team because it all becomes real this year.
Okay, we didn't deliberately choose the pointillistic sort of style, but I don't know why that happened. But anyway, you heard the audio, and they're really great people. I think we'll do 2 more questions, and the next speaker is going to go on. So how about you, sir?
What can you say about who the investors are that are backing the project?
So we've got 2 investors. The question is, what can we say about the investors who are backing the project? We've got two investors. One is Virgin Group, obviously, Richard Branson. And then we've got another investor called ABAR, which is an investment fund based in Abu Dhabi. And that's where all the funds for the project have come from to date. Okay, last question. How about over there? You've been raising your hand a lot.
A few years ago, before you joined the company, initially it seemed that by this year or next year, passengers would already have flown. Can you comment on what went a little bit slower than expected? What critical path items or bottlenecks you see in the future potentially before passengers actually are up in space?
Yeah. So basically the question is, why haven't we flown earlier? Yeah, I bought tickets on Galactic in 2005, and I think we were supposed to fly in I'm not even going to say, but it was sooner than this. I mean, it's hard. It's hard. We're doing something that's never been done before in the sense of not just building a suborbital rocket plane, which has been done before. The X-15 program was a fantastic program. But we're trying to do it for 6 passengers in the back who get to get out of their seats and float around with a rocket engine that is, I think will be very safe, but is, certainly taken a while to develop. And an airframe that is, reconfigurable in flight. There are all kinds of technical challenges, operational challenges, business challenges. And what's exciting is we're working our way through all of them. I think what I take faith in is sort of that there's progress continued, and we really can see the start of commercial operations now. So there's a whole plethora of challenges. That is what it is. But I think we're getting close, and that will be a really exciting moment when we start flying people to space. Thanks so much for your time this morning. Appreciate it.
Thanks for working with us stretching that out.
No problem. I'm just going to grab my disc here. Do you want to talk about what's happening next?
Really appreciate it. Yeah, we've got an inadvertent 10-minute break until our next speaker comes on, so feel free to grab some water and come back sharpish.